Amber Ashes by G.M. Blackjack. Chapter 31. Awakening. Beep, beep, beep. This is worse than the mesh. Those were Rarity's first coherent thoughts upon waking up. Her second thoughts were about how amusing those were, prompting her to laugh. Laughter. It didn't feel so foreign anymore. She opened her eyes, discovering that she was laying in a bed with a simple blue blanket. A computer next to her was beeping in time to her heartbeat, and there were a few pictures of adorable cats lining the walls. The door to the room had an orange-gold U on it, telling her she was in a Rarity facility. There was a nurse in the room, a small white unicorn with pastel pink and purple curls. "Oh, you're awake!" The Rarity smiled. "Yeah, how bad is it?" "Well, we didn't have to use the revive spell, so that's pretty good." She held up a strange portable screen and read something off it. "Your spirit is a little exhausted from going through so much, but it seems really strong now." "That makes sense," Rarity said, finding her smile just wouldn't go away. She had no problem with that. "Is every pony okay?" "Your world is safe, and your friends are alive and mostly well. And initial Rarity contact with your universe cluster is going well so far. There was still a lot of damage we couldn't fix in that battle under the sea." Rarity nodded slowly. "Mostly well?" "Well, your Fluttershy went through some stuff near the end. She's functional now, but not quite fully healed." "Can I see them?" "They're actually waiting for you, so soon. But the overhead wants to talk to you first." "Oh, sure. Am I in trouble?" The unicorn chuckled. "Not at all. Don't worry, she's a Rarity too." That finally made Rarity's smile falter. "Oh, you met Scarcity." She shook her head. "Scarcity's highly unusual. The overhead's nothing like that." Rarity nodded, deciding she'd make her own judgment. The unicorn nurse left the room, and less than a minute later, a Rarity walked in. Her form was fuller than both Rarity's and Scarcity's, and she wore a wide-brimmed gray hat with a bow, pulled back so ponies could easily see her face. She wore pointed red glasses with a soft rose tint to the lenses, and there was a wise, understanding smile on her face. "This isn't Scarcity." "Hello, Rarity. How are you doing?" "I've had a mysterious case of the smiles," Rarity said, chuckling weakly. "That's excellent news." She pulled up a chair and sat down next to Rarity's head. "My name is Renee Rarity Jackson, Overhead of Expeditions. I am Rainbow Dash's current boss and her lifelong friend. She speaks highly of you." "She's an arrogant loudmouth with far too much ego," Rarity said. "Oh, I agree. She agrees too, if you ask her on a good day." The two mares giggled childishly. "Have you thought of what you're going to do now?" Renee asked. "No," Rarity said, "but I'm not dead." "Not going to be, either?" "You know, most of my life I was sure I'd drop as soon as it was all over. Now, I haven't felt this full of energy since I was a filly learning magic for the first time." "Sounds like you discovered something about yourself." "It's like a curtain has been lifted away. I had to get almost killed by an alternate version of myself to get it, so that's a testament to how stubborn I am." "Do you think you could put it into words?" Rarity furrowed her brow. "Maybe you don't need success to give a good life? Or a happy life?" "Sounds like a regular Aesop to me." "What?" "Stories that end in morals." "Ah," Rarity processed this. "So my story's over." "Pretty sure it is," Renee admitted. "I had some car specialists look you over while you were out. Your importance is dropping sharply." Rarity frowned. "I'm not sure what I think about that." "Which is why you might want to think about what you're going to do now." Rarity smiled warmly. You're still in the spotlight. If you wanted, you could stay in it, move on to a different story. I could help you with that. Literally 2 days ago, I wanted nothing more than everything to end, to just drift out of it all. Now? Rarity grinned. I can't wait to get back out there. Find something new. I thought as much. Renee stood up. I'll contact you when you're better. You'll be sure to get a team. One thing, Rarity coughed. Are you sure you want a failure? Renee chuckled. We want whoever you are. And who knows, maybe now that your first story is over, that tragedy curse of yours is as well. And maybe it isn't. You'll live and do amazing things either way, right? Right. Now, I'm going to open that door, and 5 ponies are going to flood into this room, asking you a million questions. Are you ready? Rarity nodded, but said, nope. Renee smirked, proceeding to open the door with her telekinesis. You're up! Rainbow shouted first, running to the head of her bed. See? Told you she'd be up. She's a fighter. Yay! Pinkie cheered, sliding next to Rainbow. Told you it wouldn't be right without her. They could have tried the revive spell, Twilight said, walking in as an alicorn, but normal pony-sized so she didn't fill the entire room. Nothing would have kept her down. If you say so, Applejack said, leading Fluttershy in by a hoof. Rarity's breath caught when she saw a blindfold taped over Fluttershy's eyes. Fluttershy, what happened? Fluttershy turned in Rarity's direction and smiled. I looked at Rixlin. I don't exactly remember it, since Renee removed that memory with her sylph magic, but I lost my eyes. Fluttershy was the most amazing thing ever, Twilight said. Flew right down the hole to save me, held out her shield, and punched Rixlin with its own fist. She'll get new eyes, too, don't worry, Renee said, lifting up her glasses and pointing to one of her eyes that was slightly off color. I have an artificial one myself. Rarity blinked, realizing she had both her eyes. Wait a minute. Your eye wasn't lost, but you do have a rather impressive scar there. We could remove it if you want, but I wanted to ask you about it first. Can I have a mirror? Rarity asked. Twilight created one with her magic and handed it to her. Rarity looked at herself, slightly shocked at how bright her eyes looked. Not different, but more full of life. She decided that was a good thing. The scar, to her, only seemed to frame it. Unlike Scarcity's sharp mark, this one was curved, a bit like a crescent moon. I think I'll keep it, Rarity said, feeling a stupid grin rise up on her features. Show Scarcity that, yes, I am better than her. There was a chorus of laughs in the room. You look good, Rarity, Rainbow said. A lot better than ever. All it took was getting my plot handed to me by an evil twin. Rarity paused. Speaking of, Rainbow, I was down. How did you stop her plan? Rainbow chuckled. Oh, that wasn't me. I got my plot handed to me by Glimmer. She pointed at Applejack. That was all Miss Mechanic over here. You helped, Applejack said. I was an unwitting distraction. You got in there and disassembled the whole machine and threatened Glimmer with a doomsday device. I so wish I was awake to see the look on her face when you did that. Applejack rubbed the back of her head. It was a pretty good look. See, I miss out on so much. Rarity chuckled. Looks like you saved the day, Applejack. You should be proud. Can I be proud and go back to tending my apple tree? That what you want? Yes, Applejack said, shivering. I am so done with all this insanity you got going out here. But you like us, right? Fluttershy asked. Sure, yeah. Aw, come here, you. Pinkie pulled her into an exaggerated hug that Rainbow and Twilight quickly joined in on. Twilight levitated Fluttershy over to Rarity, bringing both of them into the hug at once. From the doorway, Renee laughed. These sights always warm my heart. Though, Rainbow, dear, don't go making a new set of elements of harmony. You hear me? Hey, if it happens, it happens, Rainbow shrugged. Deal with it. We have stolen her, Rarity declared. With a roll of her eyes, Renee left the 6 friends to get reacquainted. And so both Rarity and Twilight are alive. Wait, I think that was determined last chapter. Anyway, yay, she's fine, mostly. That's very nice. This is, again, not quite the end of this story. There's still 2 more chapters. But I feel like this is a good time to go ahead and say I plan on asking all of you what story you want to hear next. I'm going to include the various stories that have been suggested in the comment section, not the comment section, the description, and a short overview of what each of them are, a link to their location if you want to look at some more details, and I'm going to ask that you comment on which you would like to hear next. Feel free to vote on up to 3 of them, and I'll take whichever one has the most, and that's the one that I will do a reading of next. You can also feel free to suggest another story that you'd like to hear in particular, but probably that will just be put on the list to be considered next time. Thank you for listening. Oh, and my vote, personally, is for My Little Pony, the Final Fantasy crossover. Whichever one it's called, it'll be obvious. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a pleasant time. Goodbye, everyone. Make sure to tune in for the last 2 chapters.